rain lasted for hours, and after yesterday's grueling hike, and now with all of our stuff soaked, not one of us wanted to get out of bed. I'm Ben Cummings, a videographer from Woodstock, New Brunswick, and most of the time I'm homesteading, taking care of my plants and animals, but sometimes work and play gets me into some crazy situations. I'm nervous. I'm stuck. This is Homegrown Away from Home. Oh, this is dangerous. After my last video, the managers of the Fundy Footpath reached out and told me that they in no way condone beach hopping. It's extremely dangerous, even for those that are experienced with tides and with a little bit of climbing. The majority of rescues by the management of the Fundy Footpath is young men, people who are just inexperienced, either get stuck by the tides or just are trying to go along the coast. So the footpath is designed the way it is for, more than anything, just safety. Still don't see Matt. Despite knowing what we were doing and even being familiar with the coastline, this was still difficult. It was still dangerous. Don't go that way. Don't grab that one. That's not a safety rock right there. I caught up to Matt about our midway point to Goose Creek, where we would be staying for the night, about Brandy Brook. Now this point is probably one of the most dangerous and the most technical for even those who are experienced beach hoppers like ourselves. So you get up is the fun part, but then you always have to get down. Woo!
No, I don't think we can go there yet.
Although we had waited for hours at Martin Head for the tide to go down, there was still plenty of pinch points along the coast that still made them impassable.
You feel like doing that?
No, I don't mind. Now this is where the guys got stuck last year, and you can see that it is tight even with the tide going out. So with the tide coming in as they got stuck last year, it's a whole other story. So I don't bend that way. Apparently I do now. It's tide. There's a rock like 2 inches below your heel. Ugh. With half of us safely extricated from the cliff, I slipped into something more comfortable. Crocs. Yeah, don't judge me. The next few kilometers to Goose Creek were slippery, but much less death-defying.
Leave my thoughts on the table. Set my keys by the door. All these fortune and fate, I don't think they need us no more. In my head like a blitzkrieg, on my heart like a war. Coming back for your
As we set up camp, the sky grew dark and heavy with rain clouds.
Will you wait by yourself?
The rain lasted for hours, and after yesterday's grueling hike, and now with all of our stuff soaked, not one of us wanted to get out of bed. Although my hammock and my tarp were supposedly waterproof, my sleeping mat was pressed up against the mesh and against my tarp, which caused water to leak in and just seep and soak one of the corners of my sleeping bag. But unfortunately, Adam wasn't so lucky. He had water come in both ends, dripping off his ridgeline and completely soak him and his sleeping bag. That whole morning after the rain just had an air of just this. Like, we were done. We just wanted to go home. Really, the only consolation was that the boon box there at Goose Creek had kind of a view.
There it is. The poo house.
All stinks over here.
Yep. From one stink hole to another, we hit the trail through the Goose River mud flats. Oh. Oh, we've lost the other two. You could tell how exhausted we were by the way we gracefully limped through the mud flats. The rain from the night before had increased the flow of every river, brook, and stream by tenfold, which made for a very, very wet day. We were supposed to stay one more night, so it was going to be 3 nights, 4 days. We were going to camp at Goose River in Fundy National Park and then hike the rest of the way to Point Wolf, but we were just done. You could tell by the way that we took on and off our shoes and socks and nursed our feet back to health after every water crossing. We were just done. The final few ups and downs were breathtaking. Not just because we were exhausted and the rain was evaporating into humidity, thickening the air, but the stagnant haze as we hiked was just beautiful. The countdown was on because we technically hiked backwards. Those kilometer markers were telling us how long until the finish. Or at least how long until we reached Fundy Park. Going over top of it.
Got me upside down, spinning around you. Wanna taste the clouds, dance with the moon.
It was such a relief to finally make it to Fundy National Park. Seeing that entrance was like Valhalla, like it was heaven to most of us. And it comes as no surprise that we all made it, yes, including Adam, and you could tell they were all just so disdainful come the end. After that, we pretty much just shut our brains off and hiked the rest of the way to Point Wolf. We were exhausted, we were just done, so we shut our brains off and almost in silence hiked the rest of the way to Point Wolf, where we had a vehicle parked. Now, would I do it again? Probably not for pleasure. It's something that now that I've done it 3 times, I enjoyed it, and it's a feat. Really, it's not like I'm trying to prove anything, but I filmed it once, and if I was going back to film it again, maybe with a bigger crew, but this, I think, will probably be one of the last times I hike the Fundy Footpath. Thank you so much for watching. If you've enjoyed this, please like the video and subscribe. It really helps me so that I can continue making more of these and telling more of these stories. And stay tuned because I've got plenty coming up. Actually, I've got a 2,500 kilometer trip with Trek It ATV coming up soon. I've got some really cool stuff coming up in the next coming weeks that you will not want to miss.